Making money as an artist is easy if you can find the right niche. But that's the problem, isn't it? In this video, I'm going to teach you how to find your one perfect niche so you can start making money with your art. So make sure to watch this video all the way through because I've got some very important secrets saved for you at the end of this video. But first, I want you to understand a few things about niches that you're probably wrong about. Dan Kennedy is perhaps one of the most influential business coaches of our time. He directly influences over 1 million entrepreneurs annually, and his best-selling books get raving reviews from people that have tested his methods firsthand. And his #1 piece of advice is to compete in a market of one. So to drive that point home, I want to start this video off with a story. Rosie is a talented junior photographer and she wants to start covering weddings. She's built a website and ran some ads and even posted all over social media, but Rosie wasn't getting any customers to bite. And when you think about it, that makes sense. There are probably over 200 other wedding photographers in her city, so why would they pick her? After thinking about it a bit, Rosie then came to a realization. At any given time, there are thousands of weddings happening, so the customer base is pretty generous. But out of those thousands of couples, she doesn't need all of them. Realistically, she only needs about 10 customers a month. So instead of advertising to every couple getting married in the next few months, Rosie came up with a genius way to focus on those 10 that she would love to work for and that would benefit from her services the most. Rosie started advertising herself as a fantasy wedding photographer.
What? What the fuck?
She's a huge fantasy nerd. She has the swords, the costumes, and all of the nerdy knowledge required to create a great fantasy photo shoot. Fast forward to a few years later, and Rosie is now one of the largest wedding photographers in her city and has a massive list of happy clients. So here's the moral of the story. Getting a new business off the ground is an exciting deal, and the intuitive approach always seems to be marketing to everyone and their mothers. When asked about their target audience, many new business owners will say that their product is for everyone ages 15 and up. But not everyone needs or even wants what you're going to be selling. In fact, the vast majority of people on this planet don't. It's a tough pill to swallow for some entrepreneurs, and I've learned this the hard way for years until I started niching down. So the logic behind this is straightforward, although it might seem counterintuitive if you're just starting. Focusing on a particular niche means your marketing efforts will be effective, which in turn translates into more sales. Listen, I get it. At the beginning of your journey, you want as many customers as possible. Targeting a small group of people can be daunting and intimidating, especially when you haven't even made a single sale. It definitely was intimidating for me, but more about my story a little later in this video. Just think about this. A business should be about solving a problem. A single mom scrolling through social media while waiting for her kid to finish soccer practice isn't going to have the same experiences or issues as a first-generation immigrant student working their way towards a PhD. As a business, you need to pick a lane and stay in it. Recognizing and admitting to yourself that not everyone is going to be your client frees up your time and your budget, which allows you to focus on your dream customers and bring forward a product that they don't want to buy but actually need to buy. And this is the power of a niche.
I don't need it. I definitely don't need it. I need it!
Niche is a word you'll hear a lot in the business world. At its core, it means a specifically defined portion of just a larger category. I want to give you another example to help drive this home. Let's take a makeup artist, for example. A wedding makeup artist would be a niche that fits within the category of makeup artists, but it excludes categories such as entertainment makeup artists, casual makeup artists, special effect makeup artists, and many more. You can even go down further in that niche and market towards, say, vegan women aged 30 to 45 who are going to get married outside. You're no longer looking at the basic services a makeup artist is offering. You've actually found a very specific problem that you can solve, and you're making it about the customer. The cool thing about niches is that the very concept of a niche encourages you to look past yourself, past the fact that you are offering a product, and start looking to find the people that you want as customers, the people that will be able to help the most, your dream clients. Let's take one of my products, for example, the 3D coloring book. Initially, I wanted to create a course that covers aspects of just basic texturing for beginners, but it was way too general, and I was competing against a lot of already well-established courses and creators. There's almost no reason to buy my course over anyone else, unless you were a really big fan of my work in the first place. At the time, I think I only had under 10,000 subscribers last year. So I took the product back to the drawing board. After a bit of research, I noticed a recurring trend where people were starting to post a lot of really cool anime 3D renderings, and these works were getting a lot of questions and attention. I was also already a big fan of this style. So after a ton of research, I then pivoted my coloring book to cover anime style textures, and the course ended up exploding in sales. I noticed a very specific need, did my research, and capitalized on it before almost anyone else did. And I was able to capitalize on that trend at a much higher level than anyone else was able to at the time. So fast forward a year or so later to today, we see a lot of courses coming out now covering similar topics, but overall it's a little too late. I was fortunate enough to be ahead of the curve and one of the earliest adopters of this trend. It definitely took a little bit of skill and experience on my end, but I also acknowledge that luck definitely played a huge factor in this as well. So having that in mind, I want you to think about how you can block out all the background noise and speak just directly to the people who already want to be your customer. Marketing can't really be efficient if it's just you screaming, you want this, into the abyss. Your communication needs to be directed towards someone. Otherwise, no one's going to be there to hear it. So before we get into how to really pick your niche, it's important for you to understand some secrets and understand why niches are so powerful in the first place. Let's say you'd like to start an art blog. Your first thought would probably be devising a content plan that resembles something like Frankie Magazine. Artist profiles, interviews, and art event reviews are all things that you'd like and think you could cover. The more the merrier. After all, it would mean you'd attract readers across a broad spectrum. But you're not yet an authority. People don't know your brand, so they aren't likely to subscribe to your content or return regularly for new posts. Instead, what would happen if you focused on covering artists' grants and contests? What if you made your blog a place for artists to come and get the latest news and tips regarding art competitions around the internet, for example? Suddenly, artists have a big reason to subscribe to your newsletter. You're solving an issue they didn't even know they had and created a platform where it benefits your customers to come and check frequently. This extremely targeted and niche audience will not only bring you loyal returning readers, but it'll also pave the way for you to negotiate really expensive deals with sponsors a little later on. These general audience sponsorship deals will actually pay far less than a niche specialized audience does. If that doesn't make sense to you, remember that these massive organizations have a huge reach. But that means they have a very hard time targeting the more specialized crowds and will pay a much higher premium to advertise to them. This is one of the reasons why niches are so powerful. And since you're a small business, you'll be able to quickly pivot your strategy and adapt to new opportunities, which allows for a ton of room for growth. Starting small means you get to scale your business in a healthy, steady way, which gives you another big advantage over these giant, slow-moving companies. A Harvard study shows that generalists tend to get more job opportunities than specialists, which is very much true. But specialists across a wide range of fields typically make more money than generalists do. The same idea applies to business. For example, metal bands will gladly hire a video producer that specializes in metal music videos over a reputable video producer that works with just about any genre. Niching down helps you stand out in a crowded, over-competitive space, and it limits your competition significantly. Once you've established a niche, it becomes increasingly easy to be noticed. Combine that with a unique selling point, maybe some original packaging, and some sort of twist in what the competition is doing, and you've created something that only you can deliver. That is the true essence of a great niche. It's not really finding that secret untouched market like everyone says it is. It's about doing something that only you can do. One of the best ways to increase marketability and in turn profits is making sure that what you're offering can't be found or replicated elsewhere. This doesn't mean you have to reinvent the wheel, but rather create a strategy for solving a specific issue in a way that is only yours and can't be replicated. What you're selling needs to be yours and yours alone. Otherwise, people will just get it from Amazon. One of the biggest obstacles you'll face when trying to establish your niche is the never-ending inside battle of passion versus money. When narrowing down your niche, should you look for untapped potential that will translate into huge profits? Or should you follow your passion and build on the experience that's already there? The dreamers will tend to gravitate towards passion, where the more cold, calculated entrepreneurs might say that you should follow the cash. As following the cash is generally a good idea when you want, well, money. But finding a business niche is one of those domains where you can probably follow your passion and earn a lot of money in the process. But let me explain. For a niche to be successful, 3 factors play a critical role. And please, please, please write this down. These 3 are: how well can you relate to your ideal customers? How quickly can you establish yourself as an authority in your niche? And how creative are you in creating a new, unique twist that sets you apart? It's so much easier to do all of these if you're already familiar with the domain. And the motivation you get out of working towards a flourishing business that you're passionate about can't really be replicated by profit. No matter how much money you're going to make, your ability to take the trophy home will depend on how determined you are, and determination and passion can be pretty much used interchangeably. Might do a video on that later, I don't know. Okay, so let's get to the point, Thomas. Overall, you don't have to choose between passions and profit. At least not really. You just need to find an original way to intertwine the two, and with niche marketing, they really are 2 faces of the same coin. So, if before you watched this video, if you were told to identify a profitable niche, your first thought would probably be finding something completely new, something else no one knows about. But we know better than this now. Marketing a product that no one knows anything about can actually prove to be really difficult, no matter how useful or original the idea is. The first man who ever used an umbrella on a rainy London street back in the 1750s actually had trash thrown at him in ridicule. Your ideal niche sits comfortably somewhere between that's already known and proved as useful, and an original way of using that to solve a problem through your own particular experience and knowledge. This is where you're going to find your niche. So, as an exercise, sit down right now and write a list of the top 5 things you're interested in, just to practice. Your first profitable niche idea is sitting somewhere deep in that list, but it's up to you to figure out exactly what that is. Now, you may not like to hear that, but I want to be real and honest with you for a second. There isn't a single YouTube video or course that exists on this planet that can tell you what niche is going to work for you. That isn't how entrepreneurship works. People like me can help guide you in the right direction, but at the end of the day, you need to walk up to that door and go through it yourself. There is no secret list of niches that myself and other entrepreneurs are hiding from you. There's nothing out there that's going to give you the answer to your problems. Anyone who says anything otherwise and tells you this niche is the one, this is the one, they're lying to you. Sorry. Establishing a niche isn't reinventing the wheel, but capitalizing on what you have and distinguishing yourself from the competition in a unique way. So, here are a few tips that I wanted to share with you that I've learned from my past mistakes, so you guys can hopefully avoid this. If you spot a niche with limited competition and you get excited about it, before you jump, make sure that you're doing proper research before jumping headfirst into it.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
If this niche that you found isn't being actively targeted by any business, it could also mean that there's no demand, which will render your efforts completely futile. So here's a little secret. Your ideal niche is small, but should have still demand, with plenty of easy to reach clients and many related products and services, as well as buzz in the form of online communities dedicated to that niche. This took me a long time to realize. I used to secretly just search online trying to find the smallest and most undiscovered niche possible. That doesn't really work in real life. It's confusing at first, but if there's no competition, that usually means there's no money to be made in that niche. You will ideally find a sweet spot between cutthroat competition and no competition at all that you can leverage to stand out and offer something different. But again, there are exceptions to every rule, so take that with a grain of salt. Oh man, there is still so much more for me to teach you, and I can only really scratch the surface in a single general video. So if you want to keep learning more about how to properly research a niche market, how to identify trends, grow your presence on social media, and create a largely passive income stream, then I highly recommend you to click on the video on your screen now and start watching my passive income guide for beginners, where I'll teach you a lot more about making money online as an artist. Okay, thanks guys, bye.